I thought I knew my native city, but I didn't know it at all. So many people are not aware of the importance and the whole historical aspect of the market. My name is Tom Kenny. I was born and reared in Galway, one of 6 children. My parents started a bookshop in 1940, so I've been involved in books all my life. Also, for many, many years now, I have been writing a weekly newspaper column with the Galway Advertiser based on old photographs. And so I have accumulated an archive which would be actually quite significant now today. The Saturday market has probably existed since Galway became a town, really, because inevitably the townspeople needed fuel, food, etc. So people from the outlying districts would come in, usually with cartloads of product, sometimes walking on foot, and sell their goods in town, and then use whatever monies they had collected to buy things that they couldn't have on their farm, like tea or sugar. In some cases, these producers would go from door to door on a street. Occasionally, they might have had loyal customers. So, for example, egg and butter outside what is now Geraghty's man's shop. That's where the women used to line up. I still miss the country butter because it was 100 times better than any factory butter. So the lady whom I used to buy the butter from would come to me, and what was left, she would then go to the market. St. Nicholas's market was essentially a fruit and vegetable market, and towards Christmas there would be a lot of fowl, chickens, turkeys, etc. It was really town meets country. It was very lively and great fun, always, even though I've been told that sometimes kind of friendly insults being fired at each other and so on, but that was part of the fun of it. I came across at the weekend a very interesting description by Ailish Dillon. Ailish Dillon was a very distinguished Galway author. But this particular passage is about the market. There the donkeys were unharnessed and tethered to a wheel. The shafts were let down to the ground, and the goods to be sold were displayed on the sloping cart. Vendors came from many more prosperous areas, and their wares were a source of envy to those who lived in a congested strip along the coast. Eggs in big wicker baskets with hinged lids, ducks, hens and chickens, wooden kegs of buttermilk, home-churned butter laid in rolls on cabbage leaves, cabbages, onions, sometimes geese, hand-knit socks, all sold briskly throughout the morning to the people of the town. Nearby, travelling salesmen laid out china and glass on the ground and attracted buyers with shouts and songs and various other ploys. One was to smash a cup or a bowl with a loud noise, and remarked that it was better to smash them than to sell it too cheaply. The women loved china, especially if it was patterned with roses, and they groaned in dismay at the destruction of such beauty. At home, their kitchen dressers shone with china and lustre jugs preserved over many generations, washed carefully once a week. People could afford to buy anything but the essentials, however. When everything had been sold, the money was instantly spent on food supplies for the following week. Tea, sugar, flour, salt, a few sweets for the children who'd been left behind. Then everyone had a cup of tea in a cottage near the market, and the long trek home began. That describes my memories, my earliest memories of the market to perfection. The men that she is talking about there with the china, and they came with a big van full of chinas, obviously all seconds, that they sold very cheaply, and they had this terrific patter. One of them would sing and shout and roar, which was really to attract a crowd. The guy who was actually doing the selling had this wonderful patter. I'll give you these cups and saucers for 4 shillings. No, I won't. I'll do better than that. I'll give them to you for 3 and... No, not even 3 and 6. You couldn't buy them anywhere for that amount. 3 shillings. What about it? You wouldn't... And so on. And then he would fire one up in the air and let it smash on the ground. And this, of course, would attract even... Oh, God, don't do that. So they were cleaned out every Saturday. cleaned out of a product. I don't know where they got it. There was obviously some factory somewhere. But they were kind of representing the beginnings of change in the market. And as things began to change, for example, now you could buy flowers there. I mean, this was unheard of. The market has changed beyond recognition now, really, in that you can buy all kinds of exotic foodstuffs, but it's still wonderful. It still retains that kind of atmosphere that it always had. It is always an important part of the character of Galway, I think. It would be one of the wonders of Galway for me.